Good morning. Oops. I think. What did I do? Anyways, I scared my cats. Sorry. Um, and I've got some feedback happening because I've got the good morning, Cindy. Uh, I don't know if you can hear this, but I've got the other camera set up for our field trip. We're going to go to a local embroidery shop in our area, and we're going to embroider a hat. Should be exciting. Okay, so I confess, I did a lot of prep work first. I hooped the hat and I set up the machine. Now I'm just gonna show you how I hoop the hat. Show you my room, my embroidery shop. Um, so, anyways, I know I'm just kind of excited and I'm nervous. What's gonna happen is I'm going to leave this place and walk out into the other space. And while that is happening, you're gonna have nothing for a minute. I know it does, doesn't it? Oh, Cindy's here saying that it sounds like fun. Um, let's see. You cannot see my whole face. Do, do, do. I'm right here. Nothing. I wonder what's going on. It's just me. If I click here, Cindy, can you see the room? That's my embroidery shop. At least half of it, what you can see of it. One of my machines, the one that I use for hats, a couple of heat presses, a work table. So, and yes, your room. Hmm, I wonder what's going on. Maybe we should just go to the trip. We should just go to our field trip because you can see me out there. I'm going to mute the computer here and walk out into the other room. What I should just duck around. All right, let's do this. I'm going to, like I said, mute here and walk out there. See you in a moment. Unmuting here. All right, you need to move your camera down. Okay, Cindy, I can do that when I get back, or at least try to. My screen showed that it looked good. Anyways, I'm going to walk around to the front of the camera. The thing that's going to happen, I guess I could do that, walk around to the front of the camera. The thing that's going to happen is I am not going to be able to see any comments. I'm not going to be able to make any replies because this is my cell phone doing this live stream. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk my way through this, and then I'm going to go back to the other space and pick up the comments and questions, and we can talk about it. Everybody bring their coffee. Oh, everybody bring their permission slip. Can't go on a field trip without permission slips. Here, let me just give you a little tour. This used to be the living room. Of course, the living room is like 10 feet from the family room. So guess what took over? All right. There's my SWF 15 compact, my Happy Voyager uh, heat press, white toner printer, second heat press. I know. Look at all the boxes. I'm a hoarder. What can I say? Plus my 15 needle bridge machine. Can never have, oops, sorry, can never have too much workspace. My ironing station, prep station, my hoop board, and my favorites. So this is my space. This is what I work in. That's the kitchen, the dining room. I'm using half the dining room. And now we're back. So, like I said, I've already hooped the hat. Let me get that. My rolling chair. Love my rolling chair. So, gosh, I hope this comes over okay. Um, this is the hat. Just a nice structured hat. I've hooped it. You'll notice that the band is snugly encased in the seam. That I have an equal tack down of the hat on both sides. That helps keep it straight. We're going to put the hat on the machine. Click. Make sure bottom click. And make sure it stays. The pattern I'm using, the design file I'm using, is already loaded. One thing you want to always do is trace. So we're going to do that. The machine's going to move over. And this machine, this design is set so the hat start point is at the bottom center, which is the bottom center. We're going to hit our trace button. It's going to come up. And it's going to go left and right to show you where the hat is going to place. Of course, if it wasn't in a good position, we would adjust it as needed. And when it's done tracing, we can either make adjustments as needed, or we can press the start button. And we're going to press the start button and go. This is just a simple design. I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm going to speak up a little bit. This is just a simple design. It shouldn't take long. As you see, it's going to start at the bottom in the center area. It's going to go out to the to one side, and then it's going to come back and go out to the other side. I'm doing a white thread on red. It gives it a really nice look and a nice top. Oh, let me pop behind the screen and see if you guys have anything. Let's see. Facebook user, hey, hello. Who I got there? Oh, you can't really see anything. Let me bring the camera closer. Does that help? Why don't I bring this down? How we doing? Like I said, this is my Voyager, my happy Japan Happy embroidery machine, the Voyager. I like this one for stitching hats. I mean, the others will stitch hats really well also. But I like having machines that are dedicated to a function. Um, and this one does an amazing job on hats. I'm so happy with it. Still can't really see, can you? Going down some more. This should take, it's only 5,500 stitches. I'm stitching at 800 stitches per minute. So it should only take a few minutes. Isn't that nice? Look at how nice that's stitching. One of the things you want to be careful with when you're setting up a design for embroidery is you want to make sure that the profile of your hat, that's the distance from the seam to where the hat curves into the crown. You want to make sure that your design is not too big for that profile. Hi, Barb. I love field trips. So do I. What is a bridge machine? Okay, a bridge machine. How about we walk over there real quick and look at it? I know, disregard all the boxes. Needed someplace to put them. The bridge machine's not working this week. So, oh, terrible lighting over here. Sorry about that. This is the bridge machine. Basically, it's a really large machine. It's got the table goes from one extension to the other, and what it does is the XY axis bridges the distance. Does that help? It has a table that can go up here. I use that for sashes and patches. Going back over here. But going back to the hats, you want to make sure that the profile will accommodate your design. Too many times people try to put a 2-inch, 2.5-inch, almost 3-inch design file on a hat that has a low profile. Maybe it can only accommodate 2 inches. What do I do on the bridge machine? Patches. The bridge machine, coming over here, this is a traveling field trip, you know. Oops. This is a sash frame. See how big that is? This allows me to do large one-piece jacket back patches, which is what I use it for. Um, it allows me to do a series of patches. I can fill this up with, well, depending on what size the patches are, 30, 40 patches. Otherwise, it's like any other embroidery machine. It just has a larger hoop space to do larger projects. No, no. Do you know, Cindy? I agree. Cindy says not to get my fingers in the way of the capped machine. Very good advice, which is why I always keep a stack of these around. These are just little 6-inch bamboo skewers that I can put in there and move around what I need to move around while the machine is stitching without putting my fingers in there. This is a design file that I digitized recently for a client. And I was a little concerned about how the curves would come out. But I have to say, I'm very, very happy with how this stitched. Okay, got it. Yes, Cindy, exactly. Yes, Cindy, the bridge machine is just a really large sewing field. Now, if you ever get the chance on the embroidery nerd, look for Matthew's. Look for pictures of Matthew's patch setup. He has a multi-head machine that can stitch the full distance across the heads on one large sash hoop. Mashid, Mashid, good morning. We're on a field trip today. I can't see too many of the comments. I can't make a reply. I'm trying. We're going to go back into the office here in just a moment. While we're out here, is there anything else you guys want to take a peek at? We have just another few minutes on this one, on this stitch out, and then I'll show you how it came out. I don't know if you noticed, but with the exception of the machine, with the exception of the machines, everything in here is on wheels. I do that so that I can move around and shift things around where needed. When you're doing hats, when you're doing a satin stitch like this, you want to remember that satin stitches have limitations. You don't want to exceed those limitations because then you have split satins or the thread gets too long and it risks catching on stuff. Just a little bit more. Anthony, thank you. Welcome. We're on a field trip. We're watching the hat stitch out. We've done a scan of the workspace that I use. For those of you that just joined us, we're stitching using a Happy Japan Voyager. It's a 12 needle machine. It's my dedicated hat machine. It does a beautiful job on hats. I have two other machines. I have two SWF machines that also stitch hats very well. But I like I said before, I like to dedicate machines. Um, my SWF compact I use for my daily test stitch work and some production. My 15 needle SWF full size bridge machine I use for large patch projects and some production. And as you can see, we're done, and the machine's taking us back to the start place. So we're going to remove it from the hoop ring. Oops, step back. We're going to take a look. As you can see, it stitches really nice. We did not lose our placement in our hooping. It's very important that the teeth in the hoop band is in the seam. Now, one thing I didn't explain earlier is I did not. This is a nice structured hat. It's got a lot of stability to it. So I did not use the clips. Now, if this were a hat that were a little more floppy or a little looser, I would have used the clips to secure it a little firmer to the hoop. But I don't like doing that because it doesn't allow the hat to float. Um, Sometimes your hat it gets all bunched up in there, and I feel that the clips just help restrain that and make that more of an issue. So, okay, um, it's stitched out great. That's our little field trip. I'm going to set this down. Going to grab up my coffee. I'm going to go back to the office. So I'm going to mute this. I'm going to go back to the office. Um, you guys all hang out there for a minute. I'll be right back. Unmute. All right, Cindy, I'm going to need your help. You're saying you're looking at my chin. Is that better? Hello, everybody. Um, for whatever reason, for whatever reason, my camera is not aligned correctly. So, so we're just going to kind of wing this. Let me know. Did anybody have any questions about the hooping of the hat or the stitching of the hat or anything to say about the field trip? Gonna have a little sip of coffee. Everybody should have coffee or beverage. Okay, perfect. Now maybe down just a little. Down just a little. All right. Cindy, let me know. Or maybe I should just sit up higher. What do you think? All right. Hey, do you know what's coming in 2 weeks? How many of you are going to Applique Getaway in Irving, Texas in 2 weeks? Me. I'm going to be there. Um, in fact, that will work. I'll tweak it out. I've had some computer issues this week, Cindy. I'll tweak it out. And oh, Barb says it looks good too. Thank you. It's nice to get some, um, some reassurance there. Cindy's going to Applique Getaway. It's going to be a great time. If you're going to be there, please find me, say hi. I am, I am, I have a class Saturday morning. Like I said, it's in 2 weeks. I have a class Saturday morning that takes me through the 10 o'clock hour. But I thought I would do a live from the lounge area. They have this big sitting area. I thought I would set up and do a live, and maybe if anybody's walking around, I can just grab them in and ask them, questions about what they're doing and what classes they're taking, and where are they from, and I thought that might be fun. We can do a half hour of live at Applique Getaway. Does that sound okay? Does that sound good? We don't see your coffee. Actually, I'm using my Snow Days cup today. In fact, I should have filled it up again while I was out, but that would have left you guys here for a while hanging without me, uh, which could have been okay, I'm thinking. But anyways, Applique Getaway. I'm thinking about doing a live at Applique Getaway. I've got time Saturday. Shouldn't be a problem. Um, I hope anybody that's going to be there, look for me, say hi, um, get on camera, say hello there. Um, let's see. I do want to ask you about next week, Cindy. Cindy, I was thinking about making a T-shirt for my swag to give to my friends, but you know how that is. You own a screen printing shop and no time for my stuff. I know, I know, I know exactly how that is. Um, it would be awesome if you did, but it's okay if you don't. Just having Cindy King there live and in person to come and say hello and visit for a minute is more than enough for all of us. Um, it's always just a pleasure to meet the people that you talk to online. Uh, anyways, next week's live, next week's broadcast, I have two thoughts. Do we want to talk about fabric? Because there's a lot of new people out there who don't know, and please don't laugh. They don't know the difference between a woven fabric and a knit fabric. I know for some of us seasoned veterans in the embroidery sewing world, for us it's a no-brainer. We know what that is. But and then there's the weave. The weave has in fabric has a lot to do with how the stitch out turns out. So here's the question. Do we want to talk about fabric, or do we want to talk about digitizing? Um, One of our friends, Eric Campbell, he's a great digitizing instructor. He has a couple of broadcasts that he does on Education Friday. And one of the things that he has taught and that I try to follow is that everybody, whether you outsource your digitizing or not, everybody should uh, be able to lay text or merge files in. And I thought that might be fabric. We have a vote for fabric. We'll save the digitizing for when I get back from Applique Getaway. How's that sound? We'll do um, we'll do fabric next week, and then when I get back, we'll do some basic digitizing, merging files in, maybe software. We could do that. Cindy's asking for software. I have a couple of different software. I have um, Wilcoms E 4.4.52R3, whatever that version is. I have Hatch. Um, I have the Brilliance software. I really love their editing software. Their um, their modules. The first one I used was, what was it? There's Essentials. Cindy says fabric. Yes, we're gonna do fabric next week. I am preparing fabric to run to the shop and do some embroidery. There you go. So, anyways, we'll do fabric. We'll talk about the difference between knits and wovens and how the weave affects your stitch out. I'll have some samples. You know, I'm pretty good about doing some sample work. Um, and then when I get back, we'll do some basic digitizing design layout. In fact, I'll make a note of that because, you know, by the time it gets here, I'll have forgotten and then I won't be prepared. So we have a couple of minutes. Does anybody have any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to share? Software, I'm making notes, Cindy. Cindy says that she has the Wilcom, show all the software. It is. All of the softwares are basically the same. Um, the thing about the software is you need to become familiar with where your software has its tools laid out and what they call their tools. Remember, there are technically speaking, Eric would say there's only one stitch. The needle goes down, the needle comes up. That's a stitch. Um, in embroidery, we use three variations of that single stitch. We have a running stitch, boom, 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 boom. We have a satin stitch, boom, 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 which is just a really tight zigzag. And then we have a tatami fill, which just takes the area, it's a larger area, and it just runs the stitches back and forth, filling it in like you would with a crayon, going back and forth, filling in the sun. Do you remember that when you were a kid? You had the coloring book. You're right, Barb. As seasoned embroiderers, we forget that newbies need to be taught, and a refresh is good. Kim has a great fabric book, really. And you have the Wilcom and the Hatch and the all right. Yeah, we're going to try to cover it all. We only have a little bit of time, but we will cover as much as we can. And you're right, Barb, we do need to be aware that there are so many new people coming into the garment decorating, whether it's just as a hobby or they're trying to build a business with it. Um, I don't know about you guys, but I was raised in front of a sewing machine. My grandmother, I was 6 years old. She sat me down in front of her sewing machine. And here's the thing, her feed dogs didn't work. The feed dog on a sewing machine is the thing that pulls the fabric through so that you can guide it under the needle as you go. Her feed dogs didn't work. So I had to learn how to feed that fabric at a pace that provided good stitch out. And that was on a sewing machine. Um, so, a lot of us have grown up with this. The young people, gosh, listen to me. The young people today, um, they don't have that education. Uh, maybe their parents did not do any of the crafting. Crafting is just now becoming, in the last 5 years or so, has just become the new thing to do again. And they didn't have the education. When I went to school, we had home economics. Home economics included, how to get around in the kitchen, how to manage a household budget, how to sew, whether it be hand sewing or machine sewing. Um, they don't have that anymore. Um, and that's what we need to do. We need to be those teachers. Okay, so we have a game plan. Fabrics next week, Applique Getaway live broadcast in the lounge the week after, in 2 weeks. And in 3 weeks, we'll do a run through the softwares. Barb was also raised in front of a machine. Mom was a great seamstress. All my kids grew up with sewing and crafting. My son and grandson both know it. That is amazing. I kind of knew you had met kids, Barb, but I thought it was sweet that you wrote kisses. The family kisses, sentimental. I'm sorry, I'm rambling now. Okay, all right. Anything else? Should we wait another minute? Should we go ahead and say bye? I'm going to go over here and get ready and thank all of you again for being here. If you catch this in the replay, I'd love to see you live and in person. Um, if not, just drop a note and say, hey, I was here. Thank you. And thank you. Okay, going now. Bye. Wasn't that fun? Do you have more questions? Do you want to learn something new? Join me at quicktostitch.com for coffee and conversation, and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.